love that early 90s music that doesn't fit the game at all. Who's ready to blow things up with spaceships on the Super Famicom? There's two things you need to know about Super Aleste. One, this game is related to Musha. Two, this game is related to Godzilla. I've spent your money for you. You're welcome. Here's a piece of advice. This is known as Space Megaforce on the Super Nintendo, and Space Megaforce is insanely expensive. You're actually better off buying a Super Famicom and Super Aleste. You'll save money that way. And then you can play a whole lot of other great Super Famicom games. Super Aleste is, for whatever reason, like half the price of Space Megaforce. This is the sequel to the incredible Aleste, which I reviewed on the Sega Master System. And of course, these games are from Compile. They're related to Musha. This is as close to Musha as you're going to get on the Super Nintendo. In fact, this boss looks like one of the bosses in Musha, sort of. Needless to say, I love this game. It's worth every penny. It looks amazing. It plays great. It's basically Aleste, but Super Aleste, hence the title of the game. Pick up the weapon power-ups with the numbers, and then level them up and destroy enemies. It actually isn't too hard. This game is a bit easier than Aleste until about level 4, when it will hand you your own ass in super fashion. So, let me rephrase that. This game is hard, but the first 3 levels are pretty easy. They ease you into the gameplay, teach you the mechanics, and allow you to collect your favorite weapon and level it up. Because by level 4, it just gets nuts. This game gets crazy. So what you want to do is collect all of those little golden eggs or the green eggs, and they level up your weapons. And there's 8 different weapons to choose from that you see floating around on the screen. The missile is my favorite, number 5. If you've played Aleste, you know you immediately know what's going on. This game is also very similar to Zanak on the NES, which is in the Musha line of games, as is Spriggan, sort of. Spriggan is, aside from Musha, maybe my favorite. This one is like right after Spriggan for me. In my ranking, it's like Musha, Spriggan, Super Aleste, and then Aleste or Zanak. They're all good, except these enemies. They're very bad, like the evil Tron light cycle spaceship things that just overwhelm you. So this is what I'm saying. You need to have your favorite weapon pretty much maxed out. Number 3 is good. That's the circle shield, which is what I'm using here. But it's not so powerful unless you've leveled it up all the way. 7 gives you the Gradius-like options, and they're actually very useful in this game. The laser doesn't do much for me. 8 and 6 are pretty much ineffective, and the standard spread shot is not too bad, but what you really want, or at least for me, what I like to use is either 3 or 5. 3 or 5. If you flip it, it's 53, which is Herbie the Love Bug, which is fitting because this game is filled with love. Now, while I'm dying here on level 4, you gotta admire that background. It's very cool. This is easily one of the best Super Nintendo, Super Famicom games as far as I'm concerned. And I'm playing this on the actual Super Nintendo using the SCART cables from Retro Gaming Cables, pulling out every bit of color and detail. And by Super Nintendo, I mean Super Famicom. I do not have Space Megaforce. It costs entirely too much. Super Aleste is a better alternative as far as I'm concerned. Also, I like the shape and styling of these Super Famicom games more. Did I mention this game is related to Musha on the Sega Genesis? If I didn't, I'll make sure to say it 3 or 4 more times. I'll show you in a bit, but Super Aleste has one of my favorite features of any video game ever that more games should use. It's during a boss battle. I'll show you it near the end. Here's my weapon 3, the circle shield, leveled up all the way. Occasionally you can find some power-ups that max out your weapons. That comes in handy. And also you can take a couple hits when your weapons are maxed out. But like a lot of these games, when you lose your weapons... Ooh! It just turned into Bosconian. And the end boss! Screams in pain. That's what I wanted to show you. End bosses with the Wilhelm. More games need that feature. When you destroy end bosses, they shouldn't just explode or bleed. They should go, "Ah!" Here we go, level 8. If you thought 4 was hard, 8's insane because you destroy these giant ships, but then they shower you with shrapnel from behind. You're not getting through this one without taking a lot of damage. Stock up on extra lives. The thing on the top left there is your speed meter. You can pause the game and adjust your speed, but I think slow is actually plenty fast, otherwise I just fly into things. Have I sold you on this game yet? Love the background here in level 8 and the spaceships. It's a great looking game. The music's a little weird, an odd choice for the music, but otherwise I just think it's incredible. It's hard to think that there's 2 games in this series better than Super Aleste, but this is what happens when you get into the Aleste series. You're competing against Musha and Spriggan. 2 of the best spaceship games ever. So, save your pennies. This is worth it. It's a wonderful game. Super Aleste on the Super Famicom. Also, Space Megaforce on the Super Nintendo. It's so good! You're welcome. Like usual, I've got to pimp some products here. Check out my ultra-massive video game console guide series on Amazon. Old-timey pictures with silly captions in print now on Amazon. And I haven't had a chance to record the New Lord Carnage Club shoutouts yet, but I would like to add a big thank you to Tiago Pereira dos Santos Silva from Porto, Portugal! Thank you for joining the club. Look at those thrusters. They're firing into their friendly ships. These aliens aren't very smart. They are hard to destroy though. Classic Game Room has been brought to you by these books on Amazon: Ultramassive Volume 1, Retro Megatreks, How to Make a Video Game Review Show That Doesn't Suck, Ethel, The Cyborg Ninja Jesus, 1 and 2 Pac-Man Collector's Guide, a definitive review, and Ultramassive Video Game Console Guide 2 on Amazon. Welcome to the Patreon Lord Carnage Club, being shouted from a turbo volcano. Michael and Ariana Nelson, Ian Shore, Stephen Chucknick, Al Stever, Rick DeBarros, Jason Goy, Andy Schleiss, Sergio Matthias Hergert, Philip Strabenmuller, Jack Stavris, Ohad Kane, Simon Allen, and Sean Zoltek.